Welcome back.
Welcome back to the ShanksCast, everyone. Last episode, we had a couple technical difficulties. It's more about the audio than it is the visual on this, though. So
Look that way.
What?
I thought you had something on your face, but you don't.
What? Probably.
No, I thought it was something on your nose.
I don't know.
That's shadow.
We had a good intro just now, but then we weren't recording, so now I don't know what to say.
I think we're going to talk about the great topic of money this time.
Yes. Again, we have a bunch. We have so many things to talk about that's like through our lives, and we wanted to use this podcast as a fun way to not only connect with you guys through some of our advice that we could give you, but just talk about some of the drama that we have in our lives. And there's definitely been a lot of drama around money and figuring it out. Like, this didn't happen just out of nowhere. And believe it or not, least favorite term triggers me.
Which
when
one?
Somebody says, "You got that YouTube money."
Oh, you mean pennies on the dollar?
I'm like, I will smack you. Bleep me out. I don't care. It makes me so mad when
That's
people
such a
say,
what do you
got that YouTube money.
Or
okay, you were for Target. You got that Target money, don't you?
Or what do you really do? That's the other.
No, I don't care about that. That's easy to explain, but it's like, oh my God, people just all of a sudden think it's like, oh, you got that YouTube money. It's like, I'm gonna smack
Got that
you
YouTube stress
so
too.
damn hard right now. It is so unbelievably frustrating, but I do want to talk about it because I think it's a very gray area, and there's obviously a lot of people that make unbelievable amounts of money being an influencer, and there's influencers out there that just get by, and they truly love what they do, but they don't make all the billions of dollars in cash. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the only reason why usually people make tons of money as an influencer is because you guys purchase their merch. That's the only way you make money.
Like, where are you going
YouTube
with
doesn't
it?
pay out. Like,
No.
YouTube doesn't pay a damn thing. Not good. I've never made tons of money on YouTube itself. The only times we've ever had really good months is when you guys have supported us, or other sponsors have supported us. But we'll get into that. I just want to talk about money and disclose a lot of the very gray things about YouTube. So,
Yeah. So I guess, how do you make your money?
I got a side job and I strip. It's kind of
You
crazy.
strip?
Yeah.
Oh
I
God.
dance on the strip. No. We kind of briefly had touched on this last time, but she wanted to make very clear, and I usually just kind of don't care because it is what it is. But a lot of people just want to attribute success to it being easy, and that's just like, I think that's just everybody's natural response.
Or not
to
even
that.
success, but money. Like, I feel like everybody is
any
like, if
form
you
of
have any
money.
kind of money, oh,
Well, and there's a big difference between having a lot of stuff
yeah,
like I do and having a lot of money.
yeah,
My money is tied up in investments.
Yeah.
Like, I'm floating some months. Like, it's kind of crazy. But like, yeah, I mean, like, I could liquidate all this and, we could make a bunch of money back for pennies on the dollar. But it's like, there's a big difference between having a lot of things and being rich, if you will.
yeah.
Because all these things are costing me money every month.
Yep.
They're not really necessarily making me money. I don't really know exactly where to start, but like, from your perspective,
Yep.
yeah, didn't start off with parents' money. Both of our families are just middle class, I would
Yeah.
say. Like, my mom works very hard. My parents are split up, so my dad, he's owned his own business. He builds golf carts. Like, he's not freaking Donald Trump. Like, he doesn't have just the bajillions, but he doesn't have a building with his name on it in Vegas. But no, we were always just, we were middle class, but I think, I don't know. The grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to look at us and be like, oh, you have it good.
Which we know.
We're going to look at somebody else and be like, we look at Highland Park and we're like, oh, they have it good. Highland
Yeah.
Park looks at people in, like, on the ocean and be like, oh, they have it good. Somebody's always got it better.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is what it is, dude. Stop comparing, because that's the thief of joy. But the money aspect of YouTube has been really interesting. So I started making, so when I started YouTube, there was no monetization policy. It was, hey, you're signed up, good. Here's a couple pennies. You're going to get it whether or not. There's actually an account. There was an escrow that would build up on YouTube is what happened.
And you had to trip
until you gave them your payout information. Like, they by default, whenever I started, you started making money no matter what on
Really?
your account. And they're like, here's an escrow. It's going to build up until you want it. Otherwise, it's just going to be there. that's not a thing anymore. But it's funny because there was no barrier to entry. So it's just, but there was no money to be made on YouTube. So I never started it because I wanted to be rich, whatever. I honestly, man, I don't think I made a buck for a long time. I think it was like when
because it was so new back then.
Yeah.
That, like you said, there wasn't anything.
I think the best place to jump to is probably like middle college when my channel started to kind of shoot off, around 100,000 subscribers. And for the record, you do not make money based on your subscriber count. You only make money based on your view count.
Yeah, subscribers mean nothing. On
your videos. So YouTube has done a fantastic job of devaluing what a subscriber is. It's amazing, but it's been a problem for years, and it's not. It is what it is.
But I
no
think
complaints.
Going back, not even to college, but in high school, you worked at Best Buy, full-time job while in high school. And so I think a lot of people are like, oh, you have daddy's money paying for all these STI car parts and building your STI. And it's like, no, you got a lot of accolades and achievements at work too.
Yeah, I worked at Best Buy. Sometimes we made a couple bucks, playing at church.
Oh yeah.
For the band. If it was like a camp or something. But
like $100 here or there.
Yeah, I was working all the time. And, it's just funny because like, even if, I remember back in the day, people would still, even if they knew that I was working, because my dad bought my car. And like I said last video, like I'm going to do the same for my kids because that's just what a good parent does. And I'm sorry if your parents didn't do that. And I guess good parents, whatever, we can argue that all day long, but I'm going to take care of my kids until they're 18 and gone, and then that's on them.
Yeah.
But people saw, they're like, well, you only have a job so that you can buy a bunch of, mods for the car daddy bought you, whatever. So it's like, it was damned if I do, damned if I don't. It's always been that way. So I'd be working full time. And there was weeks in high school where I would get out of school. It was 40-hour work weeks.
There were many Thanksgivings you had to go in for Black Friday.
I'm pretty sure it was illegal, but like I worked like 52 hours one week, and that was with school.
Yeah.
It was like get out of school. It was 7 days, all 7 days I worked.
You've always been a hard worker. Anyway.
But yeah, and it's hard to be a hard worker and hear those types of things because it's just, but you got to hold your tongue because what's it going to do to argue with somebody because the same argument's going to come up. So whatever. But yeah, it's definitely been, it's been annoying, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
But moving on, the money aspect of YouTube has always been interesting. So I'm gonna go on a limb here and say when my channel was at about 100,000 subscribers, when I was making videos with TJ, traveling around with him, I want to say I was probably making anywhere from $500 to $1,200 a month.
Okay.
Maybe. And that's when my views weren't good or anything, but like I was probably making about that much a month. And that was before the industry really started utilizing influencers with ads. And so,
because back then everybody's like, do you have a magazine? Like, no, I have social media. Like, oh,
this is before social media.
We're only
any
wanting to do stuff with magazines.
Crazy to me. Like nobody cared about Instagram.
Back in my day.
It's crazy how quickly things changed though, because literally just a few years ago, people didn't care how many subscribers you had.
Yeah.
But now it's like, if
so
you go to SEMA now, well, I went to SEMA 2015, 2014, 2017, 2016. They're like, oh, you have social media? Get out of here.
Yeah.
What magazine, what car shows do you go to?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Are you a boomer? Answer is
They
yes,
were.
if you still. But literally, until probably four years ago, when we were at Peachtree, the old house, people still wanted me to appear at car shows.
Yeah.
Like, dog, my video gets 60,000 plus views at the time.
You get maybe like 10,000
There's
people at a
10
car
people at the meet that's going to know my car.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy your product because they see my car to me.
Yeah.
That was wild. But the industry has changed a ton. But on YouTube in particular, for automotive YouTubers, the cost per mile, which is CPM, it's how much you make per 1,000 views on average, is about 7 cents. It's anywhere between like 4 to 11 to 12. It depends on the YouTube channel. And the way YouTube works is companies pay Google to do ad space, and then you get paid a very small fraction, literally 7 cents per 1,000 people.
Yeah. I don't think you're exaggerating. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
No,
right
it
now.
is. My CPM might be lower than that at the moment, but and you can do the math if you want. Look at my views. you can see, bro, you get a good idea on how much I'm actually making on YouTube right now. It's not impressive. But that's how it works. And so, that being said, dude, when I graduated, again, we touched on this last episode, but I'll dive into this a little more. When I graduated from college, I got a bachelor's in finance or business administration. I think our rent was like $1,400. It was $1,350 or something. It was like something.
Our
first apartment. Like $1,300 or something.
Yeah, I think it was $1,350.
I made $700.
Yeah.
The month of me graduating.
Yeah.
And you had just quit your job. You had worked at you were just like a.
I was an executive assistant.
You had some savings. We talked about this a little bit, and that's really what we went off of.
Fun fact, I lived at home while I worked that job.
Yeah.
But I had to pay rent to my parents.
Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, I respect that about.
I loved that.
I mean, there's something to be respected there because, again, like I was saying, like we're gonna take care of our girls till they're 18.
Yeah.
But if they ever got to come back home, it's like we'll spot you. We're not gonna abandon you, but it's like you got to learn at some point how to be an adult.
Yeah.
And to pull your weight. So, I applaud them for that. I think there's a lot of things to learn about that, but it's cool. It's respectable. But
yeah. So we didn't make a lot of money. All that to say.
We made no money. We had a little bit of savings. I had some savings because I've always been I was very budget conscious until I started doing YouTube because I had to spend all my money to make some money. But I had some savings. You had some savings. We had to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
And we were dumb enough to be like, you know what? We already can't afford Texas. Let's move to San Diego.
Yeah.
Where my best friend at the time, TJ Hunt, was living in because I wanted to hang out with him more, do some more stuff with him. And
when everybody was like, California is where the celebrities go, and
we thought that there was going to be more opportunity there than there was, to be fair.
Yeah.
But that's another conversation for another topic. But I think our super ghetto apartment, gunshots, just about
$1,800 a month.
$1,800 a month.
Mm-hmm.
God,
we had a one-car shared garage.
And this was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
6 years ago, something like that. One car share, I would not even call it a one-car garage. My Miata could barely fit in it.
That's true, because it was like...
I mean, it was as big as this freaking table, dude.
Yeah.
That's the garage
we
that
had posts, which is so stupid, posts at the doors.
Yeah, and we had one, I mean, I guess that's a California thing, but one window unit, and it was just hot all the time.
Yeah. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about money.
It's expensive. And, well, I guess we were talking about money, but also the bang for the buck that we were getting.
True.
It was expensive to live out there. I thankfully, because TJ and I were such good friends, we got to use their shop. I was at the very edge of their shop, and my car stayed outside, rightfully so, because I wasn't, paying rent or anything. I'm very glad that he at least allowed us to do that because it would have been, I would have been inoperable.
You did a lot of work in that parking lot too.
Yeah, I did do a lot in the parking lot as well, but man, I don't even know where to go from here. There's just so much that's happened in the past years. But long story short, it did end up working because a lot of the content we were able to make in California, it did pretty well. Like moving to California, I mean, the video where I freaking about stalled the U-Haul, where I had to coast down in neutral going 90 the whole way down Ocotillo. That was so funny. Like that video did well. Made a few videos with TJ right off the rip, but then it started to trickle down as I started to, I wasn't able to do anything there. Money started coming in a little bit more because the videos started doing well.
Yeah.
And so we were at least able to pay for that out there. We got to the point to where we were evaluating, do we rent a shop?
Yeah.
Do we move out to freaking Bakersfield? Stay in California, but it's like, why the hell would anybody live in Bakersfield? And so we just did some evaluation. We're like, well, we only make, I think we probably, we had 5.3, we had just started 5.3.
Yeah.
And this was before merch was super oversaturated. So
it did really well at first.
You guys killed it. It was great. It started how we were maybe making probably 7 to 10 a month or so. That's that's probably before.
I can't.
But that's before. That's probably net income. Then we had to pay.
That was gross, not net.
Gross, whatever. So not net income. We're probably making $5,000 or $6,000, maybe $1,000, which was good for us, but doesn't take you very far in California.
Yeah, no.
So we started evaluating a place out there, and I'll cut this short because I'm talking a lot about this, but We started evaluating how to live out there, and it was like, we found a place that was like, what is it, $9,000 a month?
No, 5.
It was 5?
Yeah.
But that was just a warehouse.
That was just a
Then
warehouse.
we had to have a house on top of it, and we're like, dude, there's no shot, even in a good, and honestly, right now, like, we still wouldn't afford to live out there. That's just too expensive. It's too expensive.
When we were away from family, and there was a lot of factors.
There's a lot of factors of us moving back, but the
So we
money
moved back.
definitely was just like, it made so much more sense to move back. So we moved back, got the 2-car garage. You did that for a little bit.
Yeah.
The apartment. Then we moved into our first house because it was cheaper than buying a warehouse. And so I think what I'm trying to transition to here is I've always seen opportunity with money. So for me, we looked at, even local to us, warehousing spaces. And let's say this size of shop, 3,000 square feet or so. It was always about...
It was between $3,000 and $5,000 a month.
It was always like, it was a lot. So you're thinking $5,000 a month. Mm-hmm. You're not making any money on it. You're not building any equity whatsoever. You are literally dumping X amount of money per month. You don't own the land. It's gone. That money vanishes. You don't ever make it back. Or you can spend $3,500 a month on a mortgage. Mm-hmm. You can have your own personal, property, do what you want on the hours you want, and you can make your home your work, which is tough, we've learned. Yeah. It's kind of hard to balance, but it's like, I would much rather, because money is finite, it's not just growing on trees, so I want to own
it made sense to us,
and do something at home. So we bought our first house, and we quickly outgrew that.
Well, it's funny. When we were shopping for our first house, we had one realtor that we were working with that we ended up cutting ties with because she was like, you can't be too picky on your house, because we wanted a lift. We wanted a lift in the garage.
She literally told us, you can't be too picky.
Yeah, and
your house.
We needed 13 feet in the garage.
Dog, I live in Texas, and this was like 7 years ago. There is more houses than fingers in the state of Texas, I feel like. It's like, You can't be picky. That's the worst thing a realtor. Yeah. So that was silly.
Yeah. But no, so like we bought a house with the intention of we're going to have a lift in here. And so in my mind, I'm like, hey, we're saving at least $3,000 being able to work from home.
We really were, but we were also building equity at the time. And I think I really respect a lot of these influencers that like they invest, because I mean, it's so easy to just be like, I have this money coming in. It's just X amount of money per month. But like when you think about it long term, and this is my business mindset. When you think about it, like our mortgage is going towards equity in the home. Like, yes, there's a loan. The loan structure, you pay more. You pay more
with
interest off at the beginning of the term. But you're still making money. You're still building your net worth as you're paying. So no matter what, you might as well be dumping your money somewhere where you're building your net worth. Yeah. Over you're literally putting money in a landlord's pocket if you're renting a home. And I get it, like own as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Please. I know interest rates suck right now, but own as soon as you can, because the market's wild.
And you always can refinance. So that's what I've always been
marry
heard.
the house,
you
not
marry
the mortgage.
house, not the mortgage rate. Yeah.
And so we've had to be really smart about it, because there's been good months, bad months. It just like YouTube is a business, like any business, and it's hard for people to know that, because like you see us as just an influencer, but I have to see. It sounds bad because you guys aren't just numbers to me, but every video I make,
it's a sale.
It's a sale. Like the amount of sales I get, the amount of numbers I get on my screen, like that's what I base my budget around. That's everything. So good months, bad months. So we have to structure ourselves to not overdo it, but also not underdo it. And so anyways, we kind of outgrew that house, and with our budget at the time we had in that house, I had like 7 cars, 8 cars or something like that.
Something like that.
I was outgrowing the house, and so I was like, okay, I need a warehouse. But again, we started looking, and honestly in the ghetto areas too. Yeah. I think it was like $5,000-$6,000 a month.
Yeah. That's when people started moving out this way.
For a warehouse that you're not making money. And so that's when we started looking. I was like, dude, screw it. Let's buy because at the time rates were pretty low, so it was a great time to buy a house.
Yeah.
I was like, even if our mortgage is $4,000 or $5,000 a month, that's still better than throwing money at a landlord. And so that was the idea. We bought this house, and long story short, the business loan that we got to build this shop plus our mortgage is still less than what we would pay somebody to have a shop. Yeah. And on top of the shop, we would have to still live in an apartment or live in something, which again, it would still just be money pissing away in the wind.
If you put it all together, like if you had a shop and then let's say an apartment, it's like, okay, then you're at like $7,000, especially with rates these days.
Right.
$7,000 or $4,000.
But
or
people,
$5,000.
and that's just the way I've always thought.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to get the best bang for my buck possible. And that's honestly, for a while, and I'm guilty, this is a whole new conversation for another time, but that's how a lot of my cars were.
Yeah.
I only wanted to make videos on YouTube where I knew I could get the best bang for my buck. And so for a long time, not a lot of my cars, but most of my builds were oriented around making money. This is because, again, it was a business, but like I didn't necessarily want to buy the real wheels because it's like, well, you know, Kansei or Heritage, they'll send me wheels and I don't have to spend a dime on the video.
Yeah.
I can still make a video and that's less money, you know, cost per month. Because, I mean, to be honest too, especially when you're doing daily vlogs, you can't really do a walk around. Like, okay, this is why I'm jealous of like Minecraft or gamer YouTubers.
Oh, yeah.
You don't got to spend $1 to make a video. You just have to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Cars, you can't just be entertaining. You have to be doing something.
You got to spend a lot.
And it's expensive to build cars. And I mean, we've had months, like I'll just give a random example. Like we've had months where we've made like 30 grand, but our expenses were 25, 26 grand.
Yeah,
so we made
high.
$4,000 that month. I'm just, you know, rough random number, but like that's how it is for us. And so that's also bringing back to my first point. You know, you see people with a lot of things. You see me with a lot of cars. That doesn't necessarily mean that we are loaded and we're rich. It's just I've had to build all these cars to maintain
your
job.
So I think a lot of people are always curious, like, how do you get paid? Where does the money come from?
It's trees.
It grows on trees.
Grows on trees.
So obviously YouTube, we talked about Google.
Yeah, I've said it a million times.
Kind of
YouTube doesn't pay well. I mean, it does if you're a Minecraft YouTuber and you know you get 4 million views a video.
But even you'd be surprised.
Even still, like Miss Rachel, she's worth like I think it's like 4 or 5 million.
Yeah.
She should be worth 40.
Yeah.
With how much she does.
Yeah, just because like a video gets 1 million views, you could make $600 on a video.
But you know the way Miss Rachel would make her fortunes is she makes a product for children.
Yeah.
That has her name stamped on it, sell it to people. You have to capitalize on your audience. And it might sound bad, it's a weird concept, but it's absolutely true. It's like artists. They don't want to tour they might, but they don't really want to tour all over the world and tire themselves out and do drugs constantly. Like, let's be honest here.
Wow.
The only way that they make money is going on tour. They don't make money off of Spotify. They make money off of merchandise.
They make nothing on Spotify.
They make money on merch.
Yeah.
And they make money, like, even on their CDs that they sell, which nobody sells really CDs or vinyls anymore. But it's like, the only way to do that is by you buying tickets or you buying merch. And so the only way to make money in any entertainment industry is capitalizing on the people who are watching. And so, you know, just like I just said about Miss Rachel or even us, like clothing is like the easiest outlet, you know, I think to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's a good way to represent your favorite brand. There's not a lot of ways to capitalize on the automotive market, to be honest, except for merch, because like unless you own a massive company with a lathe, a mill, like all that kind of stuff. You can't really make any products for cars. Like we do shift knobs, steering wheels. We're working on steering wheels at the moment. Yeah. It's like, it's all insanely expensive.
What I was going to say, so like obviously YouTube's one aspect. Sponsorships, sponsored ads are probably half of your income compared to YouTube. And then obviously merch.
I mean, it's the same thing on a scaled level. It's like, it's the reason why you see Ryan Gosling doing an AT&T commercial. It's like he wants the money. He needs the money, and they pay big money for ad space.
Yeah.
And ad space is cool because like it works.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people do it on radio, on TV, on YouTube. I mean, it's going to get anywhere and everywhere that there is something entertaining. There's going to be a way to get ad space.
Well, and I think it's so funny the double standard of people expect ads on, like you said, on radio and on TV, but as soon as an influencer does it. They're like,
it's fair though,
cringy.
because I think
some of them are overdone.
Well, okay. Here's the thing about influencers. Not all of them. Some of them are just doing it because they're attractive or something.
True.
They're not very like.
They're not businessy.
Shut up. Like if I'm looking at your face and you're telling me about a product, like it's like Kanye. That one video that he did. It's like
I don't know.
I'm gonna directly quote him here, so bleep me out. But he goes, he was talking about Polaroid.
Oh, okay.
Lady Gaga was the face of Polaroid.
Okay.
And Kanye goes, I love Lady Gaga in some of her songs, but what the does she know about cameras?
That's fair.
It's fair because,
Yeah.
but it's like, anyways, it's so, especially with the whole short form content thing, and there's just so many creators out there now that are well known for a variety of reasons, not because you're good at, but like I'm good at sales, and so I would hope that people trust me on a product, or I'm.
Which you've turned down a lot of ads that you either didn't stand behind or didn't like the product.
I mean, like I don't know. We're Christian. We're convicted about a lot of things. Like I'm not going to promote.
We care about our name.
Yeah, I'm not going to promote stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're really cautious about that. Like,
but on that too, like if views go down on Google or on YouTube, you get paid less, and from like nobody cares about subscribers. It's all about like, does your ad get views? Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's a weird thing. Well, to that point, I want to expand because that doesn't make much sense to them. But I want to expand on that. Like to her point, it's weird because everything scales like crazy. Like I have friends in the industry who I know for a fact they'll get paid $250,000 to do an Instagram reel. Mm-hmm. Wild. I've never even gotten close to seeing even anywhere near those digits.
That would be nice.
I've seen like 20 before, for like, and that's from a big company that pays tons of money for no reason. But it's like, it'll scale based on your views. So it sucks because when your views are down, YouTube pays you less. Also, brands pay you less. When your views go up, I mean, it's obviously you guys are getting
Simple
the point
economics.
here. Simple economics, but your views go up, and then also so does not only do the dollar amount go up for brands, but the amount of brands obviously. So it's just like it doesn't just go up linear; it's exponential.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so tough, and that's why it's like depressing. It's hard on. Yeah. It's mentally hard for influencers because it's like if your views are down, that is literally your self-worth.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a hard time like differentiating their identity.
They put their
with
value
that.
in it.
But I mean, it's hard not to because this is people are emailing you saying this is what you are worth to me.
I'll send you a free product for a shout out.
It's like, no, it's not how it is. Like,
Right.
but and we've done this for a long time. So like our stuff is very structured. Our pricing deck is very structured, and like we just, if it doesn't meet within our guidelines, we just say, I'm sorry, no. Like, it'd be nice to have $1,000 or something this month, but it's like, conflict of interest. We don't like your brand. I don't really want to promote your product.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to know we do filter out a lot of stuff, and so we want to make sure that you guys are getting the best stuff possible. Like I'll just free plug here. Like Helix Sleep has been fantastic.
Oh my gosh, I love their beds.
They're not promoting. We're not promoting them at the moment. I technically would have to. I legally have to disclose that. But they're great, and they've helped us through the years a ton by paying us to promote them in the videos, but also great product. And like we've heard, you guys have absolutely loved their stuff as well. But it's like I wouldn't continue telling you guys about that brand if I didn't think that it wasn't fantastic.
Yeah.
And it sucks because the influencer market is so oversaturated that you're going to hear about 100 different bedding brands, 100 different vaping solutions.
Yeah.
It's like, who do you trust?
Try these greens this week and try these greens next week.
There's
a lot of wishy-washy.
Medicinal.
Follow the money.
Yeah. There's so many different industries that are just so overdone now that it's hard to trust influencers, which makes it harder for us to make money, which makes it harder to just be an influencer because you need a lot of money, especially to do car stuff. But anyways, that's like, there's a lot of concepts, obviously, to talk about with money for us. And it's like, it's hard because it fluctuates just as any self-employed business would be.
And I don't know how much you want to go into this, but also being an influencer, and it might be a little different now because it has become such a career, I guess. Yeah. But getting any kind of financial support or like getting a loan on a house, they're like, you do what?
Well, for a lot of people, it's a made up job.
Exactly.
I mean, it's money out. For some people, it literally is money out of thin air.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're doing what? And you're getting paid by who? Who pays you?
Yeah.
And it's like, I have to explain. I'm like, well, this month, this so-and-so paid me.
These
this
are
next
the contracts
month,
I have.
Here's the other. So it's wild. I mean, it's like us and like drug dealers are put in the same category. So it's like, if you don't have enough cash to do something, even car loans, like thankfully we have really good credit.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, even automotive loans, it's like, I'll make up a number. I could make $1 million a year, which I haven't, but could make $1 million a year. But they'd be like, by which company?
Yeah.
You know, who pays you $1 million?
We had to jump for both the homes that we
crazy.
bought. We had to jump through so many hoops of proving our income. And I guess like part of it's like making sure it's not illegal money or anything like that. But they're like, do you really have a job? Be like, yes. You probably work just twice as much time as a normal job.
Yeah, but I mean, it's something that I enjoy.
But it's not a real job.
It's like
you're a creator.
I would work probably just as hard if I had an office job. You know, Lord willing, I never have to. But it's like,
that's your work ethic.
Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, I do work 80 to 100 hours a week. I would say, if not more, most. You know, but the thing is though, when you're self-employed and you work at home, this is why it's tough to separate.
Yeah.
When you wake up, you're working. Yeah. You're working until you go to sleep because you never know when you're going to get that email coming through.
Yeah.
When you get the comment that you need to respond to or the phone call you need to take, all this. I mean, we do editing. We got the podcast. We have to create short form content. Like, especially these days with kids, we're never not doing anything. I mean, it is genuinely exhausting at the end of every day. But for the amount, like, it's hard, and this is the last thing I'll say, is like, you want to look at how much I make. It's like my hourly wage, if I were to pay myself, I probably make $5 an hour based on how much I'm having to put in.
Yeah.
But that's how it is, and there's no complaints, but I'm trying to set realistic expectations. And that can always change, you know, like you go for it and you do it, you give it your all until you finally get your big break. And we're still searching for that big break.
Well, and I want to say, I've told you this a lot too, that one of my favorite things that I've learned over the year is commenting on something is not complaining about it. So you could be like, some people could be like, oh, you're complaining. You're like, no, I'm communicating is not complaining.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's also why it's so frustrating for me to see like new businesses charge just as much money as a business that's been around for 20 years. It's like, dude, I mean, this is, for me, it's like, you got to put in the hours before you're credible. You got to ground yourself here and understand that like humility wins, ego doesn't. You got to put in the time. It's like,
prove your worth.
People are like, well, it took me a week to do this. It's like, okay, well, it takes me 3 months to do something and I pay myself $3 an hour. So it's how it is, buddy.
Yeah.
Read it and weep. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about with the money.
I feel like
aspect.
we could make like 4 episodes.
We probably
could.
And none of this is to complain. I just want to say that I don't ever mean to come off like whiny or complaining because I love what I do, and
but it's hard.
It is. That is a transparency that I will never deny. It is tough.
It's hard, and you never know when it's gonna. Especially, thankfully, I feel like cancel culture is kind of tamed a little bit, but you never know when it's gonna.
But again, you know, I don't know. I mean,
Diversify.
It is what it is. Sometimes being canceled is good for your career, though. So it's like,
true.
Well, I gotta start saying some dumber stuff so I can make more money.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just kidding. I think that's gonna close it out for what we talked about with finances and stuff. I don't know how much that disclosed or helped, but I know it's easy to be not nosy, but I'm curious what some of my friends make sometimes, and it's like, you know, we'll have conversations about it. I'm like, oh, That puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool to be realistic too, to where it's like, you guys need to know that, I mean, I have 17 cars is really cool, but that don't mean I got like, you know, tons and tons and tons of money behind it. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But you know, it's easy to look at somebody's house. It's easy to look at somebody's life and assume. And
and I think
that's what I want to tell you guys today, that like, I think people should focus more on who the person is, and to stop judging and to stop being so quick to assume that you know the person. Because I mean, everybody obviously is going through a battle or something that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to also get those thoughts out of your head. You know, that's like, it's jealousy. It's it's evil.
I think there's some, like, okay, let's be realistic too, where we get comments all the time throughout the years of, I want to start a YouTube channel. Because I think people see it and they're like, oh, it's glamorous and it's
like I said earlier, it's like you have YouTube money. There's no YouTube money. It's the money that I really work very, very, very hard to make and get.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I think it's good to be transparent. And that's the point of this podcast, because we have so much to talk about and a lot of stories, a lot of inputs, and we've been through it in the industry for a while now. Obviously, we have a lot to go, but you know, we've gained a lot of insight and a lot of info, and got a lot of, you know, friends and connections. So we want to share it with you guys. So, but I will tell you guys, don't judge, be slow to judge. And you know, if you're looking at somebody and their life is going a little bit better than you think, it might not be. Well, that's going to wrap it up. This podcast number 2. Thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
I'm so far enjoying the ShanksCast a ton. We've wanted to do this for a while.
I think for years we've talked about it.
It was so overdone for a little bit, but like, it was like one of those things I wanted to not do because so many people were doing it.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's good now. I mean, everybody's doing one. Everybody and their mother has one, so it's like, might as well just talk to a camera. It's easy to do. So I need to get to work on some of my cars because I need
to go to the bathroom really
bad.
All
right, well, that's it. Peace out, guys. Thank you guys for listening and watching.